recognize it. They not saying I recognize. And fuck is that? Who is you to be asking me questions?
I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it.
Biggie. This goes out to you. 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 And you. And you. Your reign on the top was short like leprechaun.
What up, fam? What's happening? What's going on, man? This is your boy, Mike Mitchell. Appreciate y'all tuning in tonight, man. I'm just doing a quick little video tonight. And when I say quick, you know how a lot of times we say quick, that shit end up being an hour later. It's kind of like when your family be on there talking about, hey, real quick, I just had something to ask you. It'd be a damn 10-minute damn conversation on there. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know that. But yo, what's poppin', man? What's going on out here in the world? You know, I was out today. You know, me and my big boy went to the gym. You know, get our little workout in and shit. And you know, me being the type dude that I am, you know, a lot of times I feel like, you know, I pay attention to a lot of things. Because it's not that I'm being nosy or, you know, trying to be messy or just kind of not minding my business, etc. I'm one of those type dudes, man, that I feel like, you know, paying attention to people, it kind of helps you in a way to become, for me, I'll speak on behalf of me. You know, a lot of times it helps me become a better person. It helps me be able to be objective and look at some things, some positive things and some negative things, and you know, look into maybe I can take something from this person or that relationship and maybe it can make me better, or maybe it's something that is reflecting a negative in me. So a lot of times it may be a humbling experience to where, you know, I could see something in myself and be like, damn, that's what it is that I'm going through, or that's what my girl, or that's what, you know, what was plaguing me in my past relationships, etc. You know, so it's one of those things that, you know, I've always felt like I've had a good sense for, you know what I mean? And a lot of us, you know, you might look at it as being, you know, messy and everything like that. It's not always the case. You know, sometimes people just really are in tune with, you know, being able to look at something and study, you know, someone's relationship or study body language, etc. So here's my thing, man. You know, I was in the gym tonight. First of all, let's go ahead and ring the bell. You know, let's put class in session. I wanted to come to y'all and talk to y'all about a couple of things that I noticed tonight from a couple. You know, I was on the treadmill getting my workout in for about an hour, and it was a couple that I saw working on the universal machine. It was the Smith, not the Smith machine, but the you know, where you got the wraps, well, they got basically the cable machines. And neither one of them had on headphones, because that's the first thing I looked at was, you know, okay, maybe they had on headphones and they, you know, are in tune to their music. Usually when you have on headphones, you know, you're less likely to want to communicate. You might not speak to the person that you're there with. But these motherfuckers didn't have none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have none of that. I know, hey, I know, trust me, I know. But I just looked at it, and the female had a look that, you know, she just wasn't feeling the dude. And, you know, they were working out together, and I just noticed that a lot of times whenever he would walk up on her, there was this sense of kind of like a avoidance for her. There was this sense of almost like a resentment towards him. And it made me think. I was like, you know. Now, this person, I don't know these people at all, but it made me think, how many of us have done this in a relationship where, and I don't know them again, so I'm just using them as an example. How many of us have been in relationships where you ultimately have cashed in and you're no longer considering being a part of it, but you're still partaking in the relationship. Basically, in dumb motherfuckers' terms, is how many of y'all have thrown in the towel, but you're still in the relationship? You know, how many times have you been around your husband or your wife and, you know, you've thrown in the towel, but you won't pull away from that relationship? And ladies, I see that a lot from y'all. And I'm saying that directly to you. And I know immediately, you know, the sisters will come after me with the whole, you know, wait a minute, you know, that's, you know, I know it's almost blasphemous to say things like ladies or, you know, I'm talking to my ladies, you know. It's, wait a minute, don't hit me with the lightning. Don't hit me with it. But I'm talking directly to the ladies right now because I've seen this, and I have family members, I have close female friends, you know, in your network of circle, and this won't be the first time that I've witnessed behavior like that. That sister looked like she had thrown in a towel with the relationship. And it just made me think about, like, damn, people stay in these relationships when they knowingly have no interest or no investment in it anymore. So I felt like, you know, coming to y'all today and just bringing y'all some good games. So fellas, listen to me. And ladies, put your pen and pads, you know, on the table. Let's get ready to take some notes, shall we? You know, these are just some things that, you know, I really just thought about. And because I remember, you know, I'll put a little bit of my business out there. You know, I am divorced. So, you know, I have dealt with a couple of things, you know, in a relationship. And you know, for the most part, you know, my marriage was okay. You know, we had some ups and downs. But again, you know, I've studied people from my understanding. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a relationship expert. But you don't have to be a student of a university in order to just be able to pay attention to shit. You know, so here's a couple of things that, you know, I sat down and pretty much I looked at. You know, I remember I had a thing that I wrote down from my perspective when I went through counseling and I went through therapy. I had to go pull out my old shit, you know, and it was just, I thought of a couple of things that I'm going to share with y'all. And you tell me what y'all think. You know, feel free to chime in. Again, we're on Juke Joint Diaries on, you know, Spreaker.com. And also you could hit us on Ustream. And my show again is Juke Joint Diaries. Juke, joint, like the one y'all can't put down, and diaries. But yeah, man, you know, let me just give y'all a couple of things. It's just a couple. And, you know, I'll just start with the first one. You know, one way that you could tell that your mate has pretty much checked out of the relationship or the marriage. The first one to me that I wrote down was, you know, he or she is usually hypercritical of everything that you do. You know, and a lot of times in your relationship, you know, when you're in love, you know, a lot of times you overlook a lot of shit. You overlook a lot of things in the beginning stages of your relationship. It's so fresh. It's so new. It's just like a breath of fresh air from the last relationship or the last chick you put out your apartment, you know, the last side chick you tried to marry. You know, or ladies, you know, it's so different. It's a breath of fresh air from the last dude that, you know, treated you bad, or, you know, you pretty much couldn't suck her up and, you know, just get away with everything. But no, all jokes aside, man, it's just, you know, you deal with a lot of personality quirks, a lot of things, you know, that person's toothbrush, you leave on the counter, you know, that's okay in its beginning stages. You know, that person can, you know, do something to you and you can forgive them almost immediately. You know, just, you know, he forgets to leave the toilet seat up, you know, or leave it down. And, you know, he can apologize for it and it's instantly he's forgiven for that. You know, fellas, your lady could be on her cell phone a lot. That's what pet peeve for mine, by the way, you know, when your lady's always on her cell phone. But, you know, it's a lot of things that you can do in the beginning stages. From example, you know, not hanging up your towel, you know, when you get out the shower, or maybe he or she gets out the shower and leaves too much water on the floor. You know, I know a lot of ladies that can't stand that. Or, you know, fellas, I know this drives us damn crazy. Your lady combs her hair or brush her hair and it's hair all over the fucking place. I've been there. That drives me crazy. But in the beginning stages, yo, that shit like, shit like that is just easily forgiven. Easily forgiven. But the further that you guys go into the relationship and start to continue to grow as a relationship, there becomes almost like an expectation that eventually these things will change, or eventually you will get them to change, let alone you probably have not voiced, your opinion about it, or maybe you have voiced your disdain for it, or maybe just not your cup of tea, with certain things. And eventually when you're in love like that, it's just an immediate like, oh, well, honey, my bad. My bad. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to, do that, or etc. I'm sorry, baby. That's just the way that I've been used to doing things. But you know what? I'll work on that. Cool. It's always an easy fix from y'all being able to mesh and not turn it into World War III. It's always just an immediate forgiveness and an immediate, it's immediate apology, and it's an immediate forgiveness in the relationship. So that's one way that you can tell when he or she has basically thrown in the towel, is they've been hypercritical of everything you do now. You see what I'm saying? Before, all that shit was easy to fix and easy to heal and move forward because you were in love with the person from the beginning. It was just fresh. But now that you guys have been together, now, resentment comes in. You kind of getting tired of the shit. You just don't really feel like that person is listening to you. So, or you may not be conveying it to the person. I know a lot of our ladies will expect for the man to eventually just know what she's thinking, or know, how she feels or how it makes her feel, and expect for him to change. And ladies, I hate to say it, but a lot of times men are not wired that way. A lot of times you have to continue to, nail it home, not in a degrading or a condescending way, but, just as an adult, if you have to remind him 5 times, I mean, to be honest with you, if you love him enough, you just gonna have to keep reminding him 5 times. Fellas, if your lady always comes in and she just parks too damn close to the, to the refrigerator in the garage, eventually you're gonna have to tell her, sweetie, you can't keep doing that. Eventually you're going to bust you're going to bust the headlight, or you're going to knock the refrigerator out of socket or something. And eventually, you're just going to have to just keep telling her until it gets done. And that's just one way, like I said, that eventually things get taken care of, and that's just one way. Again, write that down as being an immediate way that you can tell when a motherfucker has thrown in the towel. They become hypercritical of everything. Everything pisses them off pretty much that you do now, so that's one. But we're going to pause for a minute, man. I hope that this, we're going to chop up some real good game tonight, man. We just getting started. We just, like I said, just getting the blood flowing. We're going to pause for